Have you ever wondered how a single act of kindness, one small moment that most people would ignore, could completely transform not only one person's life but ripple out into the lives of everyone around them? Today, you're about to witness such a moment, a story that begins in the most ordinary of places, a quiet little restaurant on the corner of a busy city street, but ends in a way no one could have ever predicted. Stay with me, because what happens here will touch your heart and remind you of the incredible power of compassion. It was late afternoon, the kind of day where the sky is dull gray and the city feels like it's holding its breath before the night rush begins. Inside the restaurant, the smell of fresh coffee and baked bread filled the air. The tables weren't too crowded, just a few regulars scattered about. At one corner stood Alicia, a young black waitress in her mid-20s, wearing her uniform with a weary smile. She wasn't just a server, she was a dreamer, carrying hopes bigger than the paychecks she earned. Alicia had been working double shifts for months, trying to save enough money to go back to school and pursue a degree in nursing. Her mother had fallen ill a year ago, and Alicia had put her own ambitions on pause to help pay the bills. She was strong, resilient, and known among her co-workers for always putting others before herself. But underneath her smile, she was exhausted. She carried not just trays of food but the weight of responsibilities far heavier than anyone could see. As Alicia refilled a coffee cup for a customer, the bell above the restaurant door jingled. In walked a man who immediately drew stares. His clothes were torn, his face unshaven, his shoes almost falling apart. He clutched a worn-out backpack against his chest like it was his only possession in the world. He was clearly homeless, and the air seemed to shift as some customers frowned. Others looked away uncomfortably. The manager at the counter gave him a quick glance, already calculating whether he should ask the man to leave. But Alicia noticed something different. She saw the man's eyes, tired but filled with a kind of quiet dignity. He wasn't there to cause trouble, he was hungry. The man slowly walked up to the counter, his voice barely above a whisper as he asked, "Excuse me, Broken Bar, is it possible to just get a cup of coffee?" "Yeah, Broken Bar, I don't have enough money for food, but I can pay for that." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a handful of coins that barely made up $1. The manager was about to refuse, already impatient, but before he could speak, Alicia stepped forward. "Don't worry about it," she said with a warm smile. "Take a seat, I'll bring you something." The man hesitated, surprised. "But to Broken Bar, I don't want charity," he muttered. "I'll pay you back someday." Alicia shook her head gently. "It's not charity, it's kindness. We all need a little of that sometimes." She guided him to a corner table and, without even asking the manager, she went to the kitchen and paid for a meal out of her own pocket. She ordered him a hot plate of stew, bread, and a cup of steaming coffee. As she set the plate in front of him, the man's eyes filled with tears. He clasped his hands together, as though praying, and whispered, "Thank you. You don't know how much this means to me." Alicia simply nodded and said, "Eat while it's hot." The restaurant buzzed on as usual, but a few customers who had witnessed the moment sat silently, some with guilty looks, others with softened expressions. It was such a simple gesture, but it carried a weight that could not be measured. The man ate slowly, savoring every bite, as though it might be his last meal for days. As Alicia went about her work, she couldn't help glancing at him from time to time. She wondered about his story. What had brought him here, alone and hungry, when the world outside bustled with people who barely noticed him? She thought of her mother's words, "A kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything," and felt a quiet sense of peace for helping him. Little did she know, this small act would soon alter the course of her own life. When the man finished his meal, he carefully folded the napkin, wiped his mouth, and stood up. He walked to Alicia, his eyes shining with gratitude. "Miss Broken Bar, you didn't just feed me food, you fed me hope," he said softly. "Someday, I'll repay you, I promise." Alicia smiled, touched but not expecting anything. "Just take care of yourself," she replied. The man nodded and left, disappearing into the busy streets outside. That night, after her shift ended, Alicia walked home under the streetlights, her shoes aching and her body tired. She lived in a small apartment on the outskirts of the city, a modest place she shared with her mother. Her mother, though frail, always greeted her with a smile and asked about her day. When Alicia told her about the homeless man, her mother's eyes softened. "You did the right thing," she said. "When you give kindness, it always finds its way back to you, even if it takes time." Alicia smiled, though she didn't really believe it. Life had been harsh to her. Kindness had often felt like a one-way street. Still, she held on to her mother's words as she went to bed that night. Days turned into weeks, and Alicia forgot about the man. She continued working long hours, saving every penny she could, though unexpected bills often drained her savings. One day, while on her shift, a well-dressed man walked into the restaurant. He looked around as if searching for someone. His suit was tailored, his shoes polished, and he carried himself with quiet confidence. When his eyes landed on Alicia, he smiled and approached her. "Excuse me," he said politely, "are you the one who helped a homeless man here a few weeks ago?" Alicia blinked, surprised. "Yes, I suppose I did a broken bar. Why?" The man extended his hand. "My name is James Carter. That man you helped eat a broken bar, he's my father." Alicia's breath caught. "Your father?" James nodded. "Yes, he's been going through a difficult time. He broken bar lost everything after a series of tragedies, and though our family tried to reach him, he drifted away. I've been searching for him for months. He told me about you. He said a kind waitress gave him food and dignity when no one else would. Because of you, he found the courage to reconnect with me. He's in a shelter now, and I've been helping him get back on his feet." Alicia stood speechless, her heart pounding. James continued, his voice filled with gratitude. "I just wanted to thank you. You probably didn't realize it at the time, but your act of kindness gave my father hope, and for that, my family will always be grateful." Alicia didn't know what to say. She had never thought her simple gesture would matter so much. "Yeah, broken bar. I'm glad he's okay," she finally said, her eyes glistening. James smiled warmly. "More than okay, and because of what you did, I'd like to return the favor. My company is looking for people with your heart and determination. We have a scholarship program for nursing students. If you're willing, I'd like to help you continue your education." Alicia's jaw dropped. She could barely process the words. Was this real? The dream she had put on hold, the path she thought she had lost forever, was it suddenly within reach again? She felt tears roll down her cheeks as she whispered, "I don't know what to say." A broken bar. James placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Just say yes, you deserve this." At that moment, Alicia realized her mother had been right all along. Kindness always finds its way back, often in ways we can't imagine. She had given a meal to a man in need, and in return, life was offering her a chance to fulfill her dreams. But this was only the beginning. What Alicia didn't know was that her journey from waitress to nurse, from struggling daughter to someone who could inspire countless others, was about to take twists and turns she could never have anticipated. The choice she made that day to pay for a homeless man's meal would ignite a chain of events that would test her faith, her strength, and her heart. And as her story unfolds, you'll see just how powerful one small act of compassion can truly be. So stay tuned, because in the next chapter, everything changes. New opportunities, unexpected challenges, and a test of character that will show us all what it really means to rise above hardship. And if this story has already touched your heart, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs a reminder of hope, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss chapter 2 of Alicia's incredible journey. Life has a strange way of weaving stories together, doesn't it? Just when we think one chapter has ended, another begins, often in ways we never expected. For Alicia, that simple decision to pay for a homeless man's meal had already unlocked doors she never imagined. James Carter, the businessman whose father she had unknowingly helped, had extended an opportunity for her to pursue nursing, a dream she thought she'd lost forever. But as with every great journey, blessings often come wrapped with trials, and Alicia was about to discover that her act of kindness was not the end of the story, but the spark that would set her entire life ablaze with challenges, triumphs, and the kind of destiny she could have never written for herself. In the weeks that followed, James helped Alicia apply for the scholarship program his company offered. The process wasn't easy. It required essays, interviews, and recommendations. James personally vouched for her, telling the committee about her heart, her resilience, and the story of how she had selflessly given her own money to feed a man everyone else ignored. When the acceptance letter arrived in the mail, Alicia could hardly breathe. She tore open the envelope with trembling hands, and when she read the words, "Congratulations, you have been awarded the Carter Foundation Nursing Scholarship," she fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Her mother, frail but smiling from the couch, whispered, "I told you, baby." Kindness always finds its way home. With the scholarship covering tuition, Alicia enrolled in nursing school while continuing to work part-time at the restaurant to support herself and her mother. The days were long, exhausting even, but she had never felt so alive. Every lecture, every late-night study session, every clinical shift brought her closer to the dream she had once thought was impossible. Yet, as she pushed forward, life tested her in ways that shook her spirit. Her mother's health declined faster than expected. Hospital bills piled up, and there were nights when Alicia had to choose between studying for an exam and sitting by her mother's bedside, holding her hand as she drifted in and out of sleep. The weight of responsibility threatened to break her, and sometimes she wondered if the universe was asking too much of her. But then she would remember the look in the homeless man's eyes when she had given him that meal, the look of hope, and she realized she could not stop now. She had to keep going, not just for herself, but for everyone who believed in her. One evening, after a grueling 12-hour day split between classes and her shift at the restaurant, Alicia returned home to find James sitting in the living room with her mother. At first, she was startled, but her mother explained, "He's been checking in on me when you're busy. He's been a blessing, Alicia." James smiled warmly, his presence calm and reassuring. "I didn't want you to worry so much," he said. "You already carry so much on your shoulders." Alicia's heart swelled with gratitude, but also confusion. Why was this man, whose life was so different from hers, investing so much time and care into her family? She didn't know it yet, but fate had tied their lives together in ways neither of them could fully understand. As the months passed, Alicia excelled in nursing school, but she also faced heartbreaking lows. Her mother's condition worsened, and eventually, despite Alicia's desperate prayers, she passed away quietly in her sleep. The grief hit Alicia like a tidal wave. For days she could barely get out of bed, consumed by the emptiness of losing the one person who had always believed in her. She thought about quitting school, about giving up on everything. What was the point of chasing dreams when the person she wanted to make proud was no longer there? But then, one night, while sorting through her mother's belongings, she found a letter tucked inside a Bible. The handwriting was her mother's. With shaking hands, Alicia unfolded the note and read, "My sweet girl, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer by your side, but know this, I am proud of you. Don't you dare stop now. You were born to heal, to help, to give others the same hope you gave that man in the restaurant. Live your life fully, Alicia. Shine for me." Those words lit a fire in Alicia's soul. She wiped her tears, stood tall, and returned to her studies with renewed determination. She poured every ounce of pain into her work, channeling her grief into compassion for her patients during clinical rotations. Professors noticed her empathy, classmates admired her resilience, and patients adored her gentle touch. Her reputation grew quickly, and soon, she wasn't just a student, she was becoming a symbol of what it meant to fight through hardship with grace. Meanwhile, James continued to be a steady presence in her life. He was there at her mother's funeral, quietly standing in the back, offering silent strength. He was there when she passed her exams, cheering her on with pride. Slowly, their bond deepened, not just as benefactor and beneficiary, but as friends, perhaps even something more. Yet Alicia hesitated to let her heart open fully. She had been hurt too many times, and the weight of her responsibilities made her wary of love. But James was patient, never pushing, always supporting, and over time, she began to see him not just as the man who gave her a scholarship, but as someone who truly cared for her as a person.